Hello guys, today we're going to speak about a really interesting topic, one that is really important if you want to accomplish a goal or if you just want to do good in life in general. And a lot of people just dismiss this. They're like, oh well, that will just happen by accident. And the truth is, it's something you gotta actively search for. And the topic that we're going to speak about is none other than network. Yes, a lot of people think that they can just be in a room with other people and immediately that's their network, and not necessarily. Not even having just the contact, like not even having the phone number is enough to call somebody a contact, you know? I would say that in order to say this is part of my network, well, you should at least be really confident that you can call that person at any moment in time, not only in working hours, but you can call that person anytime and it will pick up the phone and it will be happy to listen to what you have to say. I think that is really important to actually consider someone that is part of your network. Because yeah, I can get the number of a really important person really easily. In 2 days I can get it, but that's not the point of it. Like I need the attention of these people, right? I need the trust. I think that's a specific word that I'm looking for. I need this person to trust me and know that what I'm going to say to that person is worth it. I don't want to make that person feel like it's losing its time. So it's really important to come across as a genuine person. First of all, nobody wants somebody that is fake around him. Nobody wants that, honestly. And so you, first of all, you gotta be genuine. So that person needs to feel that you're not just licking his boots or anything. Like with that I mean that you don't have to become a yes man. And this is a really, let's just say, complicated subject, because yes, I understand that if the contact that you're trying to make is older, then you kind of have to be sometimes a yes man. But if it's someone more close to your own age, then in that case you can even tell to that person no sometimes. Like the real moment where you can actually get somebody to be part of your network is when you have a real conversation with them and they know that you're a smart person. So first of all, you gotta be eloquent and articulate in the way you speak, so that person feels like it's worth it listening to you. When you speak, you will be very easy to understand, very enjoyable to listen to. So you gotta nail that down. You gotta practice in the mirror. You gotta record yourself and be like, okay, I'm going to speak for 10 minutes and let's see what happens. And then you gotta correct all the flaws that you have. You have to write them down in a notebook and then correct them. And that's the way you're going to improve, so that you make sure that when you have the opportunity to speak with a person that you want in your network, then you will be able to nail every single sentence that you say. Because chances are the first conversation that you're going to have with this person is really short. It's gonna be in a very little amount of time. So you gotta say literally the perfect words. And I know it sounds difficult, but it's not really that difficult if you are prepared for it. So if you do the practicing like I said, and also if you had like your general pitch of ideas that you want to say to a person, that is always a really great idea. But let's go with something more specialized. First of all, you gotta know exactly what you're looking for. If you just want a friend and you just want to have somebody in your network because you know that person is really valuable, but you don't really have an idea of exactly why would you need this person yet, that is absolutely and perfectly fine. In fact, I would argue that that is the best time. You're not looking for that person to do anything in particular, so that's the best moment to make a conversation, a genuine interaction with this person, and create an emotional attachment. Well, not attachment in that way, some sort of friendship, you know, that's what I'm trying to say. And if you were already looking for something, then that can be a little bit more difficult, because people just instantly feel when you expect something from them, which is not necessarily bad. That's not a bad thing. If you know exactly what you want, that you can also use that to your benefit. So don't get worried if you already know what you want the person for. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, I think you should also know and understand what situation are you in right now in the process, right? Because if you know that you have to do this in a week and you need this person's help immediately, well then you gotta be really clear and say it. But if you're like, okay, this is not an urgency, I can wait 2 months or whatever it is, then yeah, definitely bring a little bit the topic to the table, but not too much, and just be like, okay, this is open, this could be an opportunity for you and I to work together. That would be really fun, that would be really interesting, and it would be a pleasure to work with you, gentleman or lady, whatever it is. And so yeah, you definitely have to know exactly what point you are in your project. In the first part of the video, I also said something like be genuine. And what do I mean by be genuine? People are really good at distinguishing whether you're lying or not. So just be honest about all the things that you've done. Of course, you can embellish a few things, but nothing crazy. Don't say something you cannot do. Don't say, oh yes, I can climb the Mount Everest, if you cannot. So because it will also raise some doubts into the person's head. So you want to be trustworthy, so that this person actually wants to interact with you, and he actually, not only will it be convenient for that person, but that it also, this person enjoys it. Also, another really important thing is making open-ended questions. So you don't gotta ask something that they can answer to with only a yes or a no. That's the end of it. If you say, hey, would you like to work with me? Yes. No. Any answer is bad, because a yes, okay, but he didn't say when, how. So you don't want at all closed answers, yes or no. That's not it. You absolutely want to avoid it. Even if it's a yes, that's kind of bad. Because yeah, there's not a clear vision of what you want and what that person could support you with. So you definitely want to be like, hey, look, I'm doing this, what do you think about this? You think this is a good idea? Would you like to join in? Maybe ask for the opinion of that person and be like, okay, I really enjoy and respect the opinion that you gave to me. I know that you're very knowledgeable on this. Wouldn't you like to be a part of it? That is an absolute great way of doing it. And it can be tricky because sometimes you might be a little bit overwhelmed because you're thinking about the next thing to say, and when you ask open-ended questions, they will go on and they will speak. So you gotta pay attention. If you for a moment disassociated yourself and you didn't understand what they say, that's the end of it. If you say, can you repeat please, that's the end of it. Well, I mean, not always, but you want to avoid asking, can you repeat it again? You can be definitely like, oh, I didn't understood exactly what you're trying to say with that. Can you further explain on this topic? And that's absolutely fine. But you don't want to seem like a distracted person that just didn't pay attention to what the other person was saying, because that person will bring value to your project. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And you also gotta make the person feel a little bit like their reward. It would be something really cool accomplished if we can work together. Let's just put it that way. I think that could be really fun way to looking at it. You really gotta make the person feel like it's apporting something of value, even if it isn't in the exact moment. You gotta be like, oh yeah, well that's what you're saying. Even if you know it's obvious what they're saying. They're saying, oh, the sky is blue. Could be like, oh yeah, absolutely, great observation. You don't gotta be like, yeah, I know. Of course you know, he knows you know, but you gotta make that person feel like, oh yeah, that's really great insight, thank you so much. The last thing that I will going to speak about is one that is kind of not difficult to master. Well, it is difficult to master, but it's not difficult to just start doing a little bit, which is moving your hands, especially in open ways. You don't want to be so close with your hands. You don't want to be a lot like this. You will seem a little bit nervous. You gotta be like, hey, what do you think of this idea? You gotta feel like you're in your prime. You're in your comfort zone when you're speaking with this person. You're, oh yes, I love speaking about these ideas because I love this project and I'm passionate about it. I want to speak. I want to show you my ideas. I want to show you my world. I want to share all these things with you. That person will definitely know that you are a professional if you're moving your hands. Not necessarily moving your hands. I say that because it's a really easy way to start moving your body, but you gotta have some body language. If your body language, you will develop it with time. If your body language is just staying like this and this works for you, go for it. But develop a body language style that is really important to have a presence in a room. You gotta enter that room and the person, everybody has to look over and be like, oh, who is this person? You know, you gotta be the man, okay? You gotta be that guy that everybody has to see. You cannot afford to be the shy person that is in the corner just looking at everything like you're scared. None of that. You gotta be super confident. And even if you're not as confident as you have to make it appear, you gotta fake it. Just fake it for, I don't know how long could this go? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Just fake the confidence. It will feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you know, it's what you gotta do. With all those things, I think you're a little bit more ready to go out into the world and start making a network for yourself. You know what they say, your network is your net worth. That is very true. You know, I was watching a clip of a person and he was like, he was a millionaire or a billionaire, something like that. And he was like, you know what, if right now somebody took all my money, if I have $100 million, they take it all away, I could be back at having that money just because of the people that I have in my phone. I know that I have to make a few calls and the business is gonna get done. So you gotta be enjoyable. Remember, that's really important. This person needs to feel like every time they speak with you, it's a little bit of a celebration. So that's all my tips, that's all my advice, and I really hope that you make the best out of it. I know that you're going to make it absolutely amazing. I trust you. And that's about it. See ya.